holding b'chulin avaloi b'mukdashim. At the bottom. Right, the Mishnah said that Shlomo Hakan is noyeg b'chulin, only in chulin animals, but not in mukdashim animals. Asks the Gemara, Amai loy, how come it's not noyeg mukdashim? The Omar Kro, shalech t'shalach etzayim. You have to send the mother. B'misha mitzuvah l'sholcha. We're talking only about an animal that all your mitzuvah in is to be mishalchay. The Torah commanded you to send away the mother. Yotza zeh. But this is to exclude kachim. You're not commanded to send it. You have to bring it to the gazber. Gazber is the guy who's appointed on all the hektish in the Beis Hamikdash. That was his job, to take care of all the hektish things. So basically, we're saying that shalech t'shalach is an animal where you don't have any other chiyuvim. But if you already have a chiyuv onto this animal, you have to bring it to the Beis Hamikdash. Don't send it away. You're not allowed to be mishalech. You have to send it, right? Okay. Amar Ravi, you have to give it to the gazber. Fine. Amar Ravina. Hilkach. Therefore, oif tahar shargas hanefesh. If you have a kosher bird, we'll see that Shlomo Hakan only applies to kosher birds, right? The Mishnah said. So, if you have a kosher bird, shaharagas hanefesh, that killed a person, and then escaped, right? And you find it, and you recognize it. The din is any animal that kills a person is chayv misa. So, let's say that animal. If you find it, you're potter mishiluach. My time, why? Because the Amar Kosh shalech t'shalach. The pasuk says, "Send away the mother." We're only talking about someone who you are commanded to send away, and it's okay to send away. But it excludes an animal. You're not commanded to send it away, but the opposite, to bring us to Bezdin. So either way, it sounds like the drasha is shalech to shalach esoim. The Torah wants you to send away the mother, but if there's already something on this animal that tells you can't send it away because you have to bring it to hektish, you have to bring it to Bezdin to be killed, right? Because this bird killed an animal, killed a person. So then shalech shalach doesn't apply because it already has a chiyuv on it to be brought to Bezdin and not to be sent away. Okay. Hechidami, says the Gemara. What's the case of the bird that's chayiv misa and that you have to bring to Bezdin? Either gomar dine, if there was a gemar din already, which means Bezdin paskin already that it's chayiv misa for killing the nefesh, so then bar katalahu. It should have been killed. It didn't get away. Right, it's dead. They should have killed it right away. Right? Why would it be sent away? Why would it be able to escape? Ella de legomar dine. Ella says the Gemara. It killed it, but it wasn't yet brought to court. So ubayla isui lebeidina, and you're supposed to bring it to Bezdin. V'kiyumi bay, and to be mekayim with your bringing it to Bezdin. Ubiarto aramik yirbecha, meaning the chiyuv misa that the bird has in Bezdin. That is from the pasuk that says "Sakoli Sakela Shor." That's from the pasuk that says that when an animal kills a person, you kill him. But your chiyuv to bring him to Bezdin, right, is from the pasuk of V'arta Ramik Yerbecha. If you have evil, you have to get rid of evil from your midst, right? So therefore, it's your mitzvah to bring it to Bezdin. And since it's your mitzvah to bring it to Bezdin, we understand that when the Torah says "Shalech to Shalach," it doesn't apply to an animal which you have a mitzvah to bring to Bezdin because of V'arta Ramik Yerbecha. Okay. Says the Gemara, Hani Mukdashin, Hani Mukdashim. This that we said that hektish, right, an animal of kachim, is potter from Hakan. What's the case? If the pshat is you have in your house, in your barn, you have a nest of birds, and then you makdish the nest, and that we're saying you're not chayiv in shiluach hakan. No, mi mechayiv. Are you chayiv in that situation? Ki korei kan sipor. We learn from the pasuk that says ki korei. The word korei means you chanced upon it, which we learn from that prat mizuman that mizuman is excluded from the mitzvah. Mizuman means it's something that's prepared to you, something that you have, something that's at your hand, right? It's not, you don't do shiluach hakan on that. It's only if it's in the wild. If you chanced upon it in the wild, only in that situation do we say that you're chayim shiluach hakan. So therefore, So therefore, that can't be the case of a hektish that we're excluding, because always you're excluded in that situation. Ella says the Gemara, let's say you were walking in the wild and you saw good morning. You saw a nest, and you pointed and you're like, oh, hektish. Right? The chazak kan ve'alma, you saw it in the world, you saw it out in the Welt. Ve'aktish and use magdish. It says more. Mi kodesh, is it kodesh in that situation? We learn from the pasuk, ish ki yakdish es bisoy kodesh. A person who is makdish his house, kodesh. It says then it becomes kodesh, but it says beisoy amar rachmana ma beisoy b'shusa. Just like beisoy, it's in his possession. Afkol b'shusa, just like your house is in your possession. So too, anything has to be in your possession in order for you to be makdish it. So too over here, you can't just point to a nest that's on top of a tree and say it's hektish until you actually make a kinyan. Ella says the Gemara, okay, dak behinu le'afroichim ve'akdishinu. You picked up the afroichim and you were makdish it, v'hodar hadjuna, and then you put them back. And the mother goes on it, right? And are you chayiv in shiluach or not? Says the Mishnah. Says the Mishnah that it doesn't apply by Mukdashim, right? So basically, the case we're having right now is we're struggling to find a case where you have the power to be makdish it and you're still chayav in shiluach hakan, if not for the fact that it's hektish, right? Because we have to set up the case for the Mishnah to teach us that by hektish it doesn't work. Right? What is that case? The case has to be where I have the power to be makdish it, and still I'm chayiv in shiluach hakan. So says the Gemara, okay, good. So you were in the wild, you picked up the afroichim, you put them back down. You picked up the afroichim, you were makdish them, right? Dagbinu afroichim v'akdishinu, and you were makdish it, and then v'hodar jinu, then you put it back. Says the Gemara, if so, in that situation, even by chulin you're also not chayav. Why? The Tana, not al saban. If you took the kids, and then you put them back in the nest, and then the mother came back on them. You're patur min l'shaleach, because that's considered like mezuman. Rashi explains. Once you made a kinyan on them, right? You pick them up, it's yours. Once it's yours, it's like it's mezuman. Once you make a kinyan on something, once you pick something up, it's like mezuman. So now, if the mother comes on it afterwards. So then you're patur min l'shaleach. So too over here, if that's the case, once you pick up the afroichim and you makdish them, you're already patur min l'shaleach, even if there's no specific tur b'hekdish, right? So we're still looking for the case. Says the Gemara, Ella da'agba ha'la'ein ba'akdisha. Ella, says the Gemara, we're talking about the ain. You picked up the mother, right? And you picked up the mother and you were makdish the mother, and then hadra. And then the mother came back and went over her nest. Says the Gemara, if that's the situation where you would be chayiv in shiluach hakan, except for the fact that it's hektish, even now that you were makdish it, right? You should still be chayiv in shiluach hakan. Why? Because meikara yichayiv lebishiluach mikam mida'akdisha. Because before you actually were makdish it was chayiv b'shiluach. Why? Because when you picked up the mother, you shouldn't have picked her up. You should have sent her away, right? So right away when you got to that nest and you saw the mother there, you picked it up and you makdish the mother. You weren't supposed to do that. You have a chiyuv shiluach, right? So you blew it, right? But you blew it. So what? Is it? But now it came back. So are you chayiv, right? You chayiv pashas. You chayiv to shiluach again, right? So the Gemara says, but even so, even though you blew it the first time and you were makdish it, right? You would still be chayiv the shaleach, even if it's kachim, meaning in the situation, even though we learn now that shiluach hakan doesn't apply by kachim, in this situation it would apply. Why? Because the chiyuv shiluach was chal before the hektish. Just like we find, right? So meikara yichayiv lebishiluach. Originally it was chayiv shiluach bekamid hektish before the hektish, and therefore the fact that it became hektish cannot be mafkia. I can't take away the chiyuv shiluach. The Tanya, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Yosef Omer, hektish chaya. If you were makdish a chaya. And afterwards, shachta, you're patur min l'chasos. Because a hektish animal is asur ba'no, and we learned, we had a whole sugyas of shchita shaloi, shchita that doesn't work, or you chayav b'kisoy. Basically, since this shchita doesn't officiate heter in the animal, because it's asur ba'no anyway, therefore you're patur min l'chasos. Patur from kisoy adam. However, if you were shoichet the animal, and after that you were makdish it, right? So I might think it's the same thing. Says the Brisa, no, chayiv, in that situation you're chayiv l'chasais. Why? Even though right now the animal is hektish, because you were makdish after the shechita, still you're chayiv shekvar is chayiv b'kisui adam, because already you were chayiv b'kisui adam. So you see, if the mitzvah of kisui adam was chal first before the hektish, even though you were makdish it, it's not mafkiyah the chiyuv. So too over here, if the mitzvah of shiluch hakan was chal before the hektish, right? Even if hektish is potter, but it can't be mafkiyah the original chiyuv. Okay, so therefore you see that can't be the case. We're still looking for the case where it's you would be chayiv in shiluch hakan, but because it's hektish you're potter. Rav Omar b'makdish peiros shoyfcha umardu. Basically, you were makdish. You were makdish the fruits of your nest. Shoivach is like a birdhouse, right? So you were makdish the adults, because Rashi says you were makdish the adults. They're too old. The adults are too old already to be brought to the mizbeach. So can't have kedusha saguf, because only an animal that has the potential of actually being a carbon that can have kedusha saguf. Over here we're talking about you were makdish the kitties, right? The little birds that were coming, and then they ran away. Right. So how are you makdish them? You makdish them because they were in your house, right? They were in your shoivach, and you said, I want this to be a hektish, right? And then they ran the mordu. They escaped, right? They escaped, and then you find them in the field, right? So in that situation, if you recognize them, they're hektish animals. The mother goes on them. You're potter from shiluach hakan because it's hektish. That is Rav's case. Shmuel says, "B'makdish tarnigoltoi lebedek habayis." He says it's if you makdish the tarnigolos lebedek habayis, if you have your chicken and you're makdish it to bedek habayis, meaning there's no actual kedusha saguf. Why? Because you never bring a carbon from a chicken, right? It's only tar b'nei yoina. So therefore, in that situation, again, it would be the same thing, and then it runs away, right? If it runs away, and then you find it and you recognize it, so then it's put from hektish, right? So either way, the essential answer is really the same thing: is that if you have it in your house, you're makdish it, and then it runs away, right? So, what the chiluk is that Rav is saying we're talking about a case when it's kedusha saguf. The type of birds you were makdish are birds that can actually be a carbon in and of themselves, and therefore it's kedusha saguf. Shmuel is saying, no, all you have to do is makdish the chicken, and then all the eggs that it lays, right, are also going to be hektish. But not kedusha saguf, it's going to be kedusha bedek habayis, because they themselves can't be brought as a carbon, so only the value belongs to bedek habayis, to the base of mikdash. Fine. So Shlomo says more. Shlomo Shmuel Rav. Why did Shmuel not say like Rav? The kamukim le b'kacha bedek habayis. He wants to say he didn't say the case of the makdish peiros shoyfcha. Why didn't he say the case when you're makdish, whatever will come out of your shoivach, whatever fruits will be born out of your nest? Why? Because he wanted to say it's kacha bedek habayis. Even Rashmin the Ruba says that afagav, even though it's just kedushas damim, Rashi says, right, still you patim l'shalech, meaning he's teaching you an extra chiddush. What type of level of hektish do you need to be patim from shiluach? Not only kacha bedek habayis, not only kacha mizbeach, that's such a high level of hektish, right? Then you're patim. No, even the lower level of hektish, kacha bedek habayis, still you're patim from shiluach. Ela Rav, my time Ela Yom Kishmuel. Why did Rav not say like Shmuel? Why did he specifically say a case of kacha mizbeach? Rav will tell you. Davka kapatri mishloach. The only I'm davka exempting from shiluach. You're going peiros shoyfcha. Only peiros shoyfcha. Why the kachem mizbech? Because the kachem mizbech. Kevan the kachem kedusha saguf. Since the actual guf has a din hektish, so therefore lo yipaka kedusha sayu minayu. Even though it runs away, the kedusha that's attached to the actual guf cannot disappear. Lo yipaka. Even though it runs away, it's not going to leave. But if you're makdish a chicken to bedek habayis, the lav kachem mizbeach, it's not kachem mizbeach because it can never be a carbon. And therefore it's just the value of it's only holy. The value belongs to the Misa Migdash. Says Rav, once it runs away, that's it. The kedusha leaves. Once it escapes into the wild and sort of becomes hefker, right? So the kedusha has to leave. That's it. According to Rav, it's going to leave, and therefore in that situation, it's anyway not hektish, and you would be chayim shiluach hakan. V'chayevas b'shluach, and you chayav b'shluach. Okay. Shmuel Omar, what does Shmuel say? What does Shmuel say? This isn't he right? That when it escapes, there can't be any ownership. So the kedusha's damim should be poka. Says Shmuel, no, kol eichad isay, wherever it is, the big gaza de rachmana isay. It's in the treasure house of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning you can never escape from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because Diksiv, Hashem ha'aratzum loya. Hashem owns the whole world and everything that's filled in, right? That's filled up in the world. So basically Shmuel says you can't escape. Very, very nice, we don't have it, but Lamaisa, it's mom and hektish, right? Even though escape to the forest, escape, so what? Lamaisa, wherever it is, it belongs to Hashem. It belongs to hektish. Okay. And so Rabbi Yochanan also said, Rabbi Yochanan said like Rav, like Shmuel that we're talking about, Makdish trying to go to the Beit Kabayis, Umorda. Makdish trying to go and then it escapes. Amar le Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish asks the same thing. It came in Shemarda, what do you mean? Once it escapes, Pakala Kedushasa, the Kedusha should be, how do you say Paka?
It's removed.
It's removed. Right, okay. It should be, the Kedusha should
depart.
It should depart. So Amarlei, so he says back, no, so Rabbi Yochanan answers in the same thing. No, wherever it is, it's in the Beit Gaza, in the treasure house of Hashem. It's still in the treasure house of Hashem. Hashem fills up the whole world. Okay. So you see, Rabbi Yochanan held like Shmuel. We can ask a contradiction from Rabbi Yochanan to Rabbi Yochanan. And Rish Lakish also we have a stira. The Itma. There's another discussion. If someone says, I want to donate this money, right? This currency to Bet Kabayis, and then it gets stolen or lost. Rabbi Yochanan says you are responsible for that money that you were makdish until you actually bring it to the gazber, to the guy who's in charge of hektish. You have to actually bring it to the Beis HaMikdash. No, wherever it is, I'm not responsible. I don't have to run after it. I don't have to compensate for it. No. Right now, I said this money is hektish. Then it gets lost. It's still hektish. Go find it. It's my problem to find it. Right now, it belongs to hektish, right? And therefore, hektish should come and take it. Wherever it is, wherever it is, it's in the treasure house of Hashem. So basically, we see conflicting opinions over here, because Rish Lakish, right, is the one who's saying Rish Lakish is the one who's saying Bebegaz Drachmana Isa, and Rabbi Yochanan was the one who said that your Chayv is not Sheva the Gazba, right? So Kasha the Rish Lakish the Rish Lakish, Kasha the Rabbi Yochanan, the Rish Lakish has the Rish Lakish like Kasha. Why in our case did Rish Lakish not? He asked that it should be Poka. The Kedusha should leave because it escapes. He didn't know the svara of Kol Heichad Isa Bebegaz Drachmana Isa. He didn't know Lashem Aratzum Loya. That's Hamikamed Shami Rabbi Yochanan. That's before he heard from Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi. But the next price where he knows it is the Basar Shami Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi. After he heard from Rabbi Yochanan, so he held like it. I mean, El Rabbi Yochanan Kasha. Chorastin Rabbi Yochanan. What says the Gemara? Rabbi Yochanan Nam Le Kasha. How the Omar Olai. In our situation where Rabbi Yochanan holds you're still responsible for it, it's when you said Olai. If you said Mana Zu Olai, if you say it's Olai, so the pshat is you're taking responsibility on you. It's not that you're just separated from it and you're saying this is hektish and I have nothing to do with it. No. The responsibility is on me, and therefore Rabbi Yochanan says you have to be responsible for it until it gets to the Beis HaMikdash. But in our situation of the bird, it's a reizu, and since it's a reizu, you're not responsible for it, right? In the case of the Tarnagolas, you're not responsible for it because we say wherever it is, it is. Wherever it is, it belongs to Hakadosh. Okay, and Harezu, right? Harezu, the responsibility doesn't lie on you. It just the kedusha goes onto the cup, and this belongs to Hakadosh. Shine. What do I have to do with it anymore? Okay. Says the Gemara, Michlal, there's something Lakish. If you're saying the case where Rabbi Yochanan says that you're chayev to be responsible for the coin, for the money, until you bring it to the Beis HaMikdash, and then Rish Lakish argues, Michlal, Rish Lakish, Afagav the Omar Olai la Mechayev. In that situation, even though he said Olai, he's not chayev. That Tanya, what do you mean? It's a fair shav raisa. He's neder ve'ezu nidava. What's a neder and what's a nedava? Neder ha'imer. It's a Mishnah in Brachas. It's Mishnah Megillah, I think. Eizeu neder ve'eizeu nedava. What's a neder? What's a nedava? Neder ha'imer harei olai. If you assume the responsibility on you, olai, on me.
Kinim 1-1.
Harei olai oila, huh? The Mishnah Kinim. Ah, okay. Yeah, okay. Mishnah Kinim. It's brought down in Megillah also. Okay.
In our journey.
We've had it a few times, right? So, Eizeu neder ve'eizeu nedava. Neder harei olai oil. A neder is if someone says the oilos are olai. Nedava ha'im harei zu oil. Uma be neder nedava. What's the nafkamina? What's the chilik between neder and nedava? Neder meisai nignava avda chayiv achayusa because you said olai. Nedava meisai nignava avda ein chayiv achayusa because it's you pointed to it and you said zeh and you're not responsible for it. Right? So you have a problem because Rish Lakish seems to be saying that even by olai you're not chayiv achayusa. Rish Lakish hani mili kachim mizbeach the mechusar akrova. That's only by kachim mizbeach which are mechusar akrova. Because if you're makdish something as kachim mizbeach, you did not finish your job. Because right now this animal has to be brought as a carbon. You said you want this to be brought as a carbon, bring it, and you didn't finish your job. It's mechusar akrova. But by kachim bedekabayis, the la mechusar akrova, it's not mechusar akrova. It can't be brought even as a carbon, right? So your job is done. Afagav da'amar alai. Even though you said alai, it's la mechayev. Once you earmark it, once you say, I want my responsibility to go into this sheep or to go into this mana, right? You're not chayev. Why? Because your job is done, right? Meaning, essentially, Shlokish is saying that by kachem yizbech, the reason why you're still chayev is because the animal has to be brought as a carbon. That's what you promised. You promised to bring it as a carbon, so it's your responsibility. Over here, I promised that it belongs to Hekdesh. That's it. It's not even a promise. I just gave it to Hekdesh. I gave it already. So that's Shlokish. Okay, let's start. So basically, Rish Lakish said, we established Rish Lakish's opinion to be that by bedek habayis, by kachem bedek habayis, kedushas damim, even if you say olai according to Rish Lakish, you're not responsible because the deed is done. You finished your job. Your role was, it wasn't even a role. It wasn't even a promise. All you did was donate it. I donated it already. So shine.
Bedek habayis, if it's harei olai, to get
right. Even though you assume responsibility, harei olai to give a money, right? But once you earmark the money, once you say this is it, shine. So now my job is done. I'm finished. So even before it gets to Hekdesh, because it's only that's the chilik between kedushas dam and kedushas mizbeach. By kedushas mizbeach, you're essentially your neder, your proof is not your proof. Your promise is to give it as a carbon. So until you bring it as a carbon, you didn't fulfill what you set out to do. But by kachim kedushas damim, you donated it. So you donated it. That's it. Wherever it is now, it belongs to Hekdesh. So now it's their money. So it's their problem to get it. It's their problem to get it. My role is finished. That was the chiddush that we said we were machalek in the different cases of someone says olai. Sometimes when someone says olai, he is responsible. That's why kedushas mizbech. And sometimes when he says olai, he's not responsible by kedushas dam. Now the Gemara asks v'hatnan. Oimer shor ze oila. If someone says shor zeh, this shor is an oila bayis zeh korban mesa shor nafal abayis. If the shor, which would be a korban, it's kedushas damim, right? It's kedushas mizbeach because the shor could actually be a korban. So mesa shor or nafal abayis chay ein chayav b'charusin because you said zeh. That everyone agrees. You said zeh, so of course. But however, if you say shor zeh olai oila bayis zeh olai korban, so mesa shor the nafal habayis chayav l'shalim. So in that situation, you see the Brisa says, even though you say bayis ze olai carbon, now how you can't be makar of a bayis as a carbon. It must be kedushas damim, it's kedushas bedek habayis, right? And still, you see the Brisa says that you chayav l'shalim. Why? According to Rish Lakish, you should be finished. There's no more responsibility because of kedushas damim, even though you said olai. So the Gemara hani melechad meis hashor. Oh, that's only over there when you chayav if meis hashor v'nafal habayis. So now there is no bias, right? So then you're chayav l'shalim. The less new because it's not here anymore, and yes, we do say that there has to be something that you donated to Hekdesh. But in this situation, right, and therefore when nafal habayis, you can't tell Hekdesh go take it, right? Because it's destroyed. But Rish Lakish holds if the thing is still around, that's when you're allowed to say it. Only if the thing is still around, right? Then you could tell Hekdesh, okay, I donated it. Where is it? Go find it, right? But so it has to be around. Even Rosh Hashanah agrees. When it is around, wherever it is, it's in the treasure house of Rachmana, of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. T'ksiv Hashem Haaretz U'Malaya. Okay, fine. Amar Rav Hamnuna says Rav Hamnuna. Hakol Moedin be'erchin. Everyone agrees by erchin, right? Erchin is the sugya when you say when you donate your designated value by the Torah. Erki olai, erkoi olai, right? Depending on your age, depending on the gender, right? So you give a certain amount that's said in the parsha over there. So Hakol Moedin, but everyone agrees by erchin. Afagav d'omer olai lo mechayev. Even though you said olai, even though you did say olai, and right, even the Rabbi Yochanan that holds olai is something that assumes responsibility upon you, and you have to make sure it gets the gazbar. But by erchin, even though you said olai lo mechayev, why? My timer. What's the reason? Why is erchin different? There's no way to say you're chayev without olai. Maybe you didn't really mean to assume responsibility by erchin, but you just said there's no other way to say it other than olai. You have to say the word olai. How's he supposed to say it? Lema erki. If you want to say erki, my value, right? Erchin is when you donate your value to Beis Hamikdash. So erki, my value what? Right? Aman. Lema erki aman, right? Who's the one responsible for this value? You have to say olai. Lema erich pleni. If you want to say my value, erich pleni, erich Elihu, let's say, right? Erich, still aman. Who's the responsibility upon? But you have to say olai. You have to say it's upon me. You can't just say erich zeh. You have to say olai, right? You have to say olai. So typically, let's say the word olai. So says Rabbi Hamnuna must be. You see that. By erchin, we're not going to say you're responsible because you're not saying it because you want to take responsibility. There's no other way to word your word your promise. So maskif Rava, fact Rava wouldn't lay hareini be'erki. Well, you can't say anything else. You could say hareini be'erki. You don't have to say olai. Hareini be'erich pleni. You could say hareini. I am hereby be'erich pleni. Responsible for the value of pleni, right? So there is a way to say it without using the word olai, right? So olai should mean something. It should mean you're assuming responsibility. You don't have to say it that way. The oid says the Gemara. Furthermore, Tanya Rav Nosson Oimer v'Nosson is erkecha b'yomahu. We learn from the pasuk. It says v'Nosson. It's an extra pasuk. It's really by a different. It's by the case of makdish sada. But either way, these words are extra. V'Nosson is erkecha b'yomahu. Kodesh l'Hashem. You give the erech on that day, and it's kodesh l'Hashem. Or what's the reason for us to say? Why do we need these words? Since we find by hektish and meiser that once you redeem the hektish or the meisers onto coins, shebechulin that are chulin, right? So nignivu avdu ein chayv machriusun. The coins that you're mechalal meiser on, meiser sheni, right, or hektish, you're mechalal on the coins. If those coins get lost, it's not your responsibility. They belong to hektish, they belong to meiser. I don't have to make up. I don't have to compensate. But yochol afzeh, maybe also by erchin. Also, if you lose the money, right? Let's say you said erki olai, you took your $500 or whatever, and your chamishim shekel kesef, however much the Torah says you're worth, right? The Torah has specific ones for ages. You took it and you said, okay, this is for the Beis Hamikdash, and then it gets lost, right? So maybe I would think it's the same thing. It belongs to Hekdesh, so therefore I don't have to recompensate if it gets lost. Chulin, we learn from the words v'nosan es erkecha that it's all totally in the nesina. It has to be given. Until it's given, it's chulin. It's not considered hektish until it's given. So it's chulin ad sheyavol gazbar. So it's yours. It doesn't belong to hektish until you actually give it to the gazbar, and therefore you're responsible for it if it get lost. Right? Because we learned that the nesina, right? It's b'shas the nesina. That's when it's called an erech. But before the nesina, before it's actually given to hektish, it's not. It's just chulin. So therefore, you can't. Therefore, you're always responsible for it because it doesn't belong to hektish until you give it. Ella says the Gemara, itmar, pachi itmar. If Rabbi Hamnuna said something, this is what he meant to say. Amar Rabbi Hamnuna, kol moedim be'erchin. Everyone who gives be'erchin, da'afa gav deloy amar olai mechayiv. Even if you didn't say the words olai, right? Besides for erchin, we say it depends if you say olai or you say zeh. But by erchin, he's saying everyone agrees that even though you did not say olai, still you assume responsibility if it gets lost. Tiksiv v'nosanes erkecha. This drasha. Chulin ein b'yodcha, it's considered chulin ad sheyavlu de gazbar until you actually until the nesina happens to the gazbar. That's when it becomes hektish, and therefore you're always responsible by erchin. Okay, next sugya. Chaymer b'kisui. We said that there's Kisur Adam is more chomer because it's not by tzipor, by oif and chayas, and b'mezuman v'she'ein mezuman. Masha'ein kain over here only b'she'ein mezuman. By Mishloach Hakan is only by ein mezuman. Ton Rabban ki yikori kan tzipor lefanecha. If you chance upon a bird nest, what does that teach? Since it says you have to send the aim because maybe you should go run after Yachzer Baharim with voice. Maybe you should proactively look to do this mitzvah in the hills and the valleys, right? So that you find a nest. If you chance upon it, right? So this sounds like that there's no mitzvah to go and look for a mitzvah shluch hakan, right? There's even another discussion is that even if you chance upon it, let's say you do chance upon it, you're in the forest and you find the bird's nest. So in that situation, is there a chiyuv to do shluch hakan, or only if you need the eggs? Meaning, what cases of the Torah talking about? Is the case where you need the eggs, you need to eat, you need whatever you wanted. The mother, the Torah says no, don't take the mother, send away the mother and eat the eggs. Right? Is only then, is it like shchita, right? Shchita, you don't need, there's no mitzvah to do the shchita. As if you want to eat the meat, then you have to do the shchita, and then it becomes a mitzvah, and you have to make a bracha, right? But over here, maybe it's only a matter. You have to, right? It's just if you want the eggs, then you have to send away the mother. Right? That's a big discussion in the Paiskim. But from over here, it sounds like definitely you don't have to run after it and find it, right? Okay, that discussion is the next discussion, even if you don't need the eggs. Okay, so either way, tam lover ki yikar b'meura lefanecha. If it's an occurrence, if it chanced upon you, when it happens, kain that teaches you mikol makom. Kain mikol makom meaning even if there's one efrayach or one beitza, any type of kain. Okay, tzipor. We learn from the word tzipor that it's tahara v'lo tmeya. The Gemara is going to end up proving that the word tzipor always means a kosher bird, and oif could include even non-kosher birds. But tzipor means tahara v'lo tmeya. Lefanecha is b'shus hayachid. Lefanecha means in front of you, right? Even if though it's b'shus hayachid. Baderech, what does baderech teach you? B'shus harabim. The ilonos minayin. How do you know? Even if you find it in a tree, talam b'chol eitz. The BeiRav sichinu ma'aras minayin. How do you know that even in a pits or right, Baris is a pit, Sichin is like a ditch, Ma'aris is a cave. Minayin, how do you know if you find a cave there? Oil ha'aretz means everything. It says in Gemara, once we're going to end up being merave, include all types of places. So lefanecha, baderech lamali. Why did you tell me lefanecha, baderech? Right, everything's included. Lora lach says the Gemara, it's to tell you maderech she'ein kinoi biyodcha, just like baderech, right? It's not in your hands, right? It's not something that's in your property. It's in public property. It's baderech. You find it when you're traveling. So too, any situation where the cane isn't in your hands, you're chayiv. Mekan omru, for example, yoyne shoivach v'yoyne aliyah. If there's if you have doves, right, yonim that are in the shoivach, that are in a bird house, right? But it's not in your hand. Meaning it's not something that's easy. It's not in your house, right? In your house, so that we said is for sure. It's mezuman, your potter, right? Over here, it's in your shoivach, right? But it's not like it's in your house. It's not mezuman. Didn't grow up in your vicinity, right? Over here, in Maisa, it's a little bit removed. Yoyne shoivach or yoyne aliyah. We have doves in the attic, in the roof. Right, so in those situations, you're also chayiv. Or shekinenu b'tfichim, or that they made a nest. Tfichim, Rashi explains, is some type of hole in a chayma. You used to have these walls, surrounding walls. So you used to have, I don't know. Rashi says it's a kedera. They put a pot in the wall. I don't know what it means. It probably means some type of insert that they put into the wall, and then the bird found the empty place and made a nest over there. Right. So even though the chiddush over here is that even though it's not in the wild, right? It does grow on buildings, right? Or bebiros in big buildings. If you have a bird that nests in big buildings, so in that situation, it's also considered eina b'yadcha. It's not in your hand, therefore you are chayiv. Avazim v'tarnagolim. Also, these domesticated animals, avazim are geese and tarnagolim, chickens, right? If they were kinenu bepardas, if they made a nest in the wild, in the orchard, not in your house, you're chayiv also. So all these situations are situations where it's not mamish the wild, right? Because it's domesticated, or it's not mamish the wild because it's in the roof, right? So in that situation, you're still chayiv because it's eina biyadcha. Okay, and that's what you learn from the word derech. Aval kininu b'soich habayis. But if the kininu b'soich habayis, mamish in your house, v'chen yoneh harad siyos. Or if you have dove haratsios, what the Gemara is going to explain, it basically means these type of doves that would be very motzi. They hang around the humans all the time, so it's not considered. You don't even have to hunt them, right? So in those situations, you're pater mishiluach because it's mizuman. It's right in front of you. Okay, and the Torah says ki yikare. Omar Mar says the Gemara, ma derech she'en kina biyadcha. Just like derech is that it's the cane when you're traveling and you find the cane, it's not in your possession, it's not in your hand. Afkol she'en kina biyadcha. Says the Gemara, halamali, what do you need? Mechi yikare nafka. We said already, right? From ki yikare, you know, prat lemizuman, and these things are not mizuman biyadcha. Why? Because it's in the chayma, it's on the top. You're gonna have to go get it. It's not called mizuman. So va'oid says the Gemara, lefanach halamali. Why you need lefanecha? Means you explained why you need derech, but you didn't explain to me why you need to tell me lefanecha, right? So Ella the Gemara says lefanecha le'suye shehayu lefanecha umar. Lefanecha is coming to teach you if they were in front of you, if you had them and then they escaped. So in that situation, I might think, oh, since I had them already, they were mizuman, right? They were mizuman by me already. They used to be mine, so therefore maybe I'm patur from shiluach. Mashmila no. Even if they escaped, they're chayiv again. It has to be
so therefore you have to give something that
no lefanecha meaning.
Oh no, so therefore
that's what we learn from the word lefanecha. Okay, but derech. What does baderech teach me? Again, we said baderech is not going to teach me what we just said. The halacha will be the same in those situations of the yonei shoivach and the migdal. The halacha is going to be the same because it's not mezuman in front of you, and therefore you're going to be chayav b'shluach. But we don't need the word baderech for that. So what do you need the word baderech? If you found a cane, a nest in the sea, maybe floating, whatever is floating in the sea, chayav b'shluach. You are chayav to do shluach. Shenemar koyemar Hashem anoisin bayom derech, anoisin bayom dorech. Basically, it's a pasuk that you see the pasuk in Yeshaya calls the yom the derech. Hashem made a path. He made a path in the sea. So you see that in the sea it's called derech, right? So for the word derech, you see by shloch hakan, the pasuk says derech to teach you that any place where it's called derech, where it's called a regular path, right, you'll be chayiv in shloch hakan. So that includes a sea also, because you see the pasuk in Yeshaya calls anoisin bayom derech. Ela me'ata, says the Gemara, motza kain bashamayim. Maybe also if you find a nest bashamayim, right? How do you have bashamayim? So Rashi says, oif noisa kain ba'avir. If there's a big bird, let's say you find an eagle, right, carrying a regular bird's nest, right? So you see he's carrying it. Or because an eagle, it has to be a kosher bird in order to be considered to be chayav shluch hakan. So however you have a bird that picks up a kosher a nest with kosher birds in it, would you be chayav? You should, because you see derech nesher b'shamayim. There's a pasuk in Mishnah that says it calls the derech of a nesher. It calls the path of a nesher derech, right? Derech nesher. You see, it's called derech also. So you should also be chayav. Says the Gemara, chinami de mechayav b'shluch hakan. Are you also chayav b'shluch hakan? Says the Gemara, I don't know why the Gemara is so adamant to say it's not, but the Gemara says, no, that's not true. Why? Because derech nesher ikri. It's called derech nesher. It's not called derech stamala ikri. Meaning bashamayim is not a regular path, because they didn't have airplanes then, right? It's not a regular way to go. Shamayim is not called a derech. Therefore, you're not going to be chayav in shluch hakan. But the pasuk says derech nesher b'shamayim. No, it's derech nesher. It's the way of an eagle. It's not stam derech. The pasuk by us says it has to be baderech. Baderech doesn't include shamayim. Only for a nesher it's considered derech, and that's what the pasuk says, derech nesher. The Rogachover brought a raya from here when they asked him when airplanes air travel started becoming popular. They asked him, "You have 6 fields of derech?" So he said no, because it's not called derech. Because the Gemara says it's only called derech nesher. It's not called derech. It's not derech. So therefore, you put from. That's what he said. But okay. Amrile. So Amrile Papunoi Rav Masna. So Papunoi told Rav Masna, Matzah kain b'rosh shel adam mal. Let's say you have a nest on the head of a person. Is that considered oretz? Is that considered derech? Are you chayiv in that situation? Mao Omar. He says va'adama al roisha. He says there's a pasuk that says by I think it's in Daniel. Where is this? No, in Shmuel. Sorry. Oh, he saw a person and there was adama al roisha, right? So there was ground. It says called it adama. Adama means earth, right? On his head. It doesn't say afar. It says adama. Rashi explains the pshat is you see that even though it's on the person's head, if there's adama on the person's head, it's called adama. It's not called afar. It didn't change. So to over here, a person could also be considered aretz. Rashi says shmamina adam gufei adamahu. From the fact that it's called adama, the person isn't mivatal that. We learned from the pasuk over there that even though this guy had earth on his head, the person wasn't mivatal that adama. Why? Because a person himself could be considered oretz. He could be considered adama. So to over here, if you have a cane on a person, it's called al haaretz. Very interesting. Just like over there, the adama on the head, the person wasn't mivatal the shem adama from it. You see that a person also considered, I don't know, ki adam eitzasode, I don't know, ki offer atav el offer tashuv. I don't know exactly where this is coming from, but we're saying that the person could also be considered oretz, and you have the cane on the person, it's considered al haaretz and tzechayev. Okay. Now the Gemara gets into what seems to be a totally random discussion. Moshe min haTorah minayin. How do you know Moshe min haTorah? What does this mean, Moshe min haTorah? Moshe is in the Torah all the time, right? So, before he came, Rashi explains it means before Moshe came around, like in Bereshis, where do you see a hint to Moshe? B'shagam hu basar. When Hashem talks about the people, Hashem says, "Lo yodoin ruchi ba'adam le'olam." I'm not going to live with man all the time. B'shagam, right before the mouth. B'shagam hu basar. He's also flesh. Ve'yu yamav me'aves mishana. He's only going to live 120 years. When Hashem decreases the life of man. So b'shagam is gematria Moshe. The shin and the mem and the beis and gimel is hey. So Moshe. So b'shagam hu basar. So even Moshe. This is a remiss to Moshe Rabbeinu that he's basar and he's going to live 120 years. The what? B'shigam, right. Even Moshe is from Basar. Even Moshe is from the Noilodim, Rashi says. Okay, that's Moshe min haTorah. Haman min haTorah minayin, Hamin ha'etz. Hamin ha'etz, right? And, I guess Haman got hung on a tree, right? But Hamin is Haman. The same letters, right? Esther min haTorah minayin, v'anochi Haster astir ponai. That's in the end in Dvarim, right? Hashem will be. That's Esther. Mordechai min haTorah minayin. How do you know Mordechai? Diksiv Mordoror. It says by the Besamim, by the Shemana Mishcha, that it's made out of Kachlecha Besamim Roish. Take the head of Besamim, but the main Besamim, the top Besamim, Mordoror. And what's Mordoror? Mertagimin and Meiradachya. So you see, Mordachya is like Mordechai, right? It's the same words. So you see from that's where Mordechai is minatar. Okay. The Ezeu She'enim Mezuman. What's considered not Mezuman? Rabbi Eliyahu Raful Shimon. Oh, so we said the Yoine Hadar Siyois are the bedavs that are domesticated. They hang around the people, so they're called Mezuman. Right. So Chatani Hadar Siyois, V'Chatani Harad Siyois. Right. The question is the Dalet and the Reish. Which one comes first? Man Tani Harad Siyois Al Shem Hurdus. It's named after Hurdus because Hurdus was the one who brought them in to Eretz Yisrael. Hurdus was the king. At the end of the reign of the Chashmonaim. He was an Eved, right? He was a slave who took over and became the king. So he was the one during Bayis Sheni, right? And he's the one who brought in these birds. So it's Al Shem Hurdus. It's named after him because he's the one who brought them in. Uman Tani Hadarsi is the ones who calls them Hadarsi. Al Shem Ekayim. They're from a place called Hadarsi, whatever. So it's a question of just where the name comes from. Amar of Kana. Kana says, "Lididi Chazyon." I saw them. I saw these Yoinim. The Kaimon Shitzer Dari, there were 16 rows Bipasi Mila in the width of a mil. Right, a mil is an 18-minute walk, so it's very wide. Right, 16 rows. They were sitting there, 16 rows of birds with as long. Each row was the width of a mil. V'havakari, v'havakara, and they were all chanting Kiri Kiri. Kiri means master. In Aramaic, in whatever language they spoke over there, Kiri means master. So the birds were chanting master, master. Like Hurdus had trained the birds to chant to him, king, king, right? So he's like the king. So that's what Kiri means. Savachad benai, there's one bird, Delev, Kari Kiri Kiri. This bird was not screaming Kiri Kiri. Amr Lachaverta, so its friend said, Sumo, you blind one, like you're blind. Amri Kiri Kiri, you should say Kiri Kiri. Amra, so she said back to the other one, Sumo, you're blind. Amri Kiri Biri, we should say Kiri, the master, Biri is a slave. Biri means slave, right? So because Hurdus became king, but originally he was an Eved to the Chashmonaim, so you should call him Kiri Biri. So Asiyuah, they brought a Veshachtua, and they shechted this bird who said this, right? So Amar Ravashi says, Amarli Reb Chanina told him Milin, these are just words. He didn't accept this story. What do you mean? The birds spoke? What are you talking about? Birds can't speak, so this is like a myth. Milin, it's just words. Sakataita asks Samar, could it be? What do you mean? Rav Kana, who said Rav Kana said the story. You can't just say it's myth. Ella b'milin. It means b'milin, with words. So Rashi says it means b'kishuf. Meaning, how did this happen? It happened through witchcraft, and that's how the birds were able to speak. Others explain it means that it means b'milin in the language of birds. It happened in the language of birds, and Rav Kana was able to understand it. He was able to tap into the way the birds communicate, not that actually they spoke in human language. Okay, let's stop here. This is already Nusuk. Okay, shkoya.